We started with a good morning. How many of you are seated here since morning? Can you raise your hands? I think almost all of you. Let us fill in this room with some energy. Yes or no? Yes. I can't hear a yes. मैं ऊंचा सुनती हूँ. Yes or no? Yes. I think yes we are. So just to break the monotony and to go ahead with what I'm here for, can I please request all of you to please rise wherever you are seated? Can you please stand up? All right. What we are going to do is you are going to just follow the numbers that I show. When I show you a 1, you're going to clap with one finger. When I show you a 2, you're going to clap with 2 fingers. When I show a 3, with 3, 4 at 4, and 5 at 5. Okay? I'll give you a count. You just have to clap in rhythm. All right. So let's begin. Continue with the 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 3, 4, 5. 1, 1, 5. 3, 1, 5. I am loving the energy. Now while you are all standing and I have grabbed enough attention for you to be attentive after sitting for so long, let me just ask you one thing. The power of voice. I'm going to say one word and you are supposed to repeat that one word after I speak, but with a lot of power, conviction and belief. Will you do that? Yes. Can you show me your voice throw, yes or no? Yes. You are all doctors, so to be doctors, so your power of your brain we all know, but we need to see and check the power of your voice. Okay, the number one word you need to repeat behind me is opportunity. Opportunity. Courage. Courage. Confidence. Confidence. Voice throw. Voice throw. Power. Power. Achievement. Achievement. Victory. Victory. Impact. Impact. There you go. I think that is the power of your voice. It has changed the entire vibe, right? Speaking is what differentiates us from other species, like birds, reptiles, animals, and mammals. We differentiate from each other, one another, just by the way we speak, just by the way we utter our words. You can see a picture on the screen, and while I ask you a question that what is the common thing that you can see amidst all the people visible on the screen, I'm very sure and I can guarantee that there are better politicians, better leaders, better CEOs, better actors, better writers than the person that is visible on the screen. But what is common between all these people and the faces you can see on screen is that the way they speak has actually changed the trajectory of their life. So I very firmly believe, and I'm going to leave this room with one thought, that the way you speak is going to actually be the larger part of what you achieve in your life. I think it is about the way you utter your word or your sentences. People perceive you basis that. Opportunities you never knew will knock your door the way you speak and conduct yourself. It's all linked to how you talk. And in the next 15 minutes, I would want to not just make you believe, but strongly believe that even if you improve 10% of how you speak, you can create 100% of more opportunities, not just for yourself, but for your family, your team, and everybody associated with you around, in your inner circle and even at your workplace. While there is a harsh fact that the world doesn't wait for people who are not very confident or who are not good at speaking or who are scared at effective communication. 4 out of 5 people in this room, if you introspect, might agree that if you spoke better, in a better way than what you right now do, your personal life, professional life, and your relationship could have been much stronger. Agree or disagree? We have all known that one guy in our college, school, or especially at your workplace, who's actually, he knows everything. He is a knowledge bank. But I think he cannot string 2 sentences together confidently. And he's the same guy right now who's seated in front of the screen and watching this talk on YouTube and nodding that yes, that's true. 90% of the humans, they fear stage. I think they dread public speaking. And who are those remaining 10%, do you know? Those 10% are liars. I believe 100% of the people dread public speaking. They fear this thing called microphone. Because I think I host a lot of events, and every event I go, the first thing the family or the corporate people whom I'm hosting for will tell me that, Megha, humse mic dur rakhna. You speak and you manage things. We don't want to get up on the stage. This is the most event wala scenario. In almost 2 decades of my career, I might have addressed almost 2 million people with 2,500 plus live radio shows. And one of the radio shows that I hosted was the top voted radio show consistently for 9 years. I might have hosted some 150 plus TV shows live, some 3,000 plus premium events across 3 different continents. And from there to hosting the prestigious president event or the prime minister event or multiple times the chief minister events, or say national games, or say the biggest stadium, the cricket stadium, which is the biggest in the world, hosting 5 ICC World Cup matches as the official host for ICC. Do you think all of these opportunities came easy to me? Was it a cakewalk? Aaya aur maine kar liya? The answer is a big no. Till the very first year of my college life, I was extremely fearful of this thing called stage. But I wanted to be like my mother. My mother is at 71 a practicing lawyer. She writes columns in newspapers. And she's a humanitarian, a rationalist, and she always told me the stories that how she used to win the debate and the elocution competitions in her school. So I thought, why not me? Let me also try. So imagine me some 25 years back, standing on my school stage on 15th of August, 1999. It was a Independence Day celebration at the school, and I decided to free up myself from this monster called stage fear. I start my speech, and in the first 30 seconds, it was all pitch perfect. 30 seconds down the line, I look in front of my best friend seated right there. She smiled, and I forgot the entire speech. My pupils got dilated. My brain, it blanked out. I think there were butterflies in my stomach, there was sweat in my palm, and I could hear my own heartbeats louder than my own voice, and my legs were shivering and like how. So I looked on the left, I looked on the right, I said, sorry, and I left the stage. I think that day I decided that I want to get rid of this monster called stage fear. And then the next 3 years of my college life, I did a lot of theaters to get rid of this extreme glossophobia. From that extreme stage fear to achieving what I've always dreamt of, standing on a TEDx stage. Theaters helped me a huge scale. So it's about grabbing the opportunities that come your way. From that shy Megha to a very confident Megha who can now hold all sort of varied audiences with different cultural, social, economic backgrounds, and conquering from a 5-year-old to an 80-year-old with what I speak. So I very, very firmly believe that what you speak is a bridge between where you are and where you wish to reach. Every word you speak is kind of a brick. You can use those bricks to build your dreams, your goals, the career, the opportunities. But if you fix those bricks haphazardly by not speaking well or not planning your life better, it will create a very hazy picture for you. That is the point where I started thinking that how a skill that is God-given, that is speaking, which all of us, the human species have, can actually change the trajectory of your life. And there is a very interesting survey, a study done by Carnegie Institute of Technology, which says that 85% of your financial success depends on how you speak. It is only 15% of the knowledge that you have. And this is a proper survey done by an international institute. It all depends on how you speak, how you negotiate, how you are able to grab and create opportunities for yourself, how you can convince the people, and how you can lead the people. So now you know why that backbencher during the school days is faring so well in life. Can you picture somebody who is not actually very knowledgeable but doing great in life? Yeah, we all think of such people while we listen to such surveys and such stories. Few days back I was watching Shark Tank, and there was a lady with a brilliant idea who explained that how can we avoid being a diabetic. It was a very, very potential idea of saving and changing millions of people who are suffering from diabetes. But I think she couldn't explain the idea with its full potential. And in the very same episode, there was a pair of entrepreneurs who walked back home with the seed funding of 1.5 crores just because they were very convincing at the way they spoke. The idea was absolutely average. But you see here what changed? One person will be going back to his team and rejoicing because they are going to scale up the business, and one person with a better idea will be now struggling for the funds. So I think speaking is what mattered here. So I have put this into a perspective. There is a little graph on the screen which you can see. The graph which you can see, every dot that you can see is a situation, and with time, if you overcome that situation with your speaking skills, you will get closer to your full potential, is what I very strongly believe, and I'll ensure that I make you believe while we leave this room. So there are 6 kind of different situations in our life. You just need to remember this one word called candle, and these conquering one at a time or multiple situations at a time, multiple skills at a time, will help you get better of where you are and where you want to reach. All the achievements, whether personal or professional, more or less are coming back to you from conquering the 6 words I'm going to share in the coming talk. I think conquering that will make the situations favorable for you, be it your personal or professional life. The very first word from candle C is convincing. Convincing is directly proportional to the ability to speak well. I think the strong speaking is equal to better convincing power. Whether you are pitching a product to your client, your service to a client, or maybe you are asking for a fund for a project that you've just started, maybe you are speaking to your girlfriend or boyfriend or your spouse. Convincing skills helps you get the favorable situation which you wanted. I'll give you an example from 1983. Steve Jobs, he was very much wanting to hire John Scully, the then CEO of PepsiCo, to join Apple. But John was quite hesitant, and he was little skeptical at joining Apple. So very famously, Steve Jobs once told him that, do you want to sell sugar water all your life, or you want to join Apple and change the world? That very day, with that one sentence, John Scully decided to join Apple, and the rest is the history. The tech giant that we see today in front of our eyes is what happened with the convincing skills that Steve Jobs was famous for. It changed the course of Apple in the times to come and became the tech superpower that we all know of. The other word, as you can read, is aspiring. Success is equal to speaking abilities and executing them while you actually search for some opportunities, grab those opportunities, whether it comes to you or you create for yourself. Success is equal to that habit of ensuring that you look for opportunities wherever you go. Probability of encountering opportunities, say job offers, say promotions, dating proposals, or success comes better to you if you are good at speaking. I'll give you an example of 2008. Bill Ford was again skeptical to sell Jaguar Land Rover to a company which was based in India. It was only and only after Ratan Tata met him and created an opportunity. He built trust and confidence that that was the right decision he was going to take, that the entire industry or ecosystem of automobiles changed in India, not just for Tata, but for India as a country, where we now project as better globally when it comes to automobile ecosystem. Yes or no? Yes. I remember one of my interviews with Shah Rukh Khan back in 2010, and he was speaking that how during the days of 4G, the very first project that he earned for himself, he created an opportunity for himself. Shah Rukh Khan was never a very handsome looking guy, but the way he speaks, the way he conducts himself, the charm that he has, he created an opportunity for himself in front of the producers of 4G, and he landed his first ever project. And again, rest is the history. With this SRK example, it reminds me of another experience I had with, while I was interviewing the legend Big B, Amitabh Bachchan. I think it was during Buda Hoga Tera Baap film that he was in Ahmedabad, and it was raining profusely, cats and dogs, entire Ahmedabad was almost flooded. So he was running late, but I think the schedule was very tight, from one promotional place to one appearance to one interview to the other. There were 2 press conferences that were kept in Ahmedabad, another city, and a lot of things on his platter. So from the print media interviews to the electronic to the radio interviews to the exclusive interviews that he was giving, I was seated there in front of him starting 11 a.m. in the morning. When my turn of an exclusive interview turned up, it was 11:30 in the night. And outside the hotel that we were actually waiting for him, it was all flooded. And the energy with which he spoke at 11 a.m., it continued at night 11:30 when I was interviewing him, with not a little bit of change in his energy. I think it is how he speaks at 82, while he has hosted some multiple seasons of KBC and endorsing some multiple amount of brands the way he does. I think the way he speaks, he makes an opportunity, creates an opportunity for himself to be immortal with every gig that he's part of. And he walks his way to our hearts and our homes every day. The third word that I want to remember is negotiating. Negotiation skills, plus your speaking skills, equals to a favorable outcome. Whether you are, discussing your appraisals with your boss, or you are being interviewed somewhere, the deals, the contracts, you get a better edge over the other person with whom you are competing. Let me give you an example of my own office. 2 of my colleagues, let's just name them Rohan and Amit. They were on the same position, doing the same kind of hard work. But on the day of appraisals, Rohan, who was amazing when it comes to speaking skills and negotiating skills, and Amit was an equal achiever and hard worker, but not a great person when it comes to negotiating or speaking. He walks into the boss's cabin and he tells him that, I think I worked quite hard and I am hoping for a good raise. The boss was not impressed and he just got a basic raise which was meant to. While Rohan, he walked inside the boss's chamber very confidently and he complimented him, saying that how the company has grown and what are his plans and how he is planning to take up extra projects and save on the company's cost. While Rohan and Amit did the same thing, but what is the difference here between both of them? Rohan negotiated so well that he got an edge of 12 months in his career over Amit, who was doing the same job. He just did not get the hike, but he actually ensured that he convinces his boss that this is not just a raise that you are giving. It is not just a reward, but it is an investment which will actually prosper the company. So he was happy, but what did Amit do? Amit cribbed me for the entire 12 months saying, see, this has happened and this has happened and this is how it worked. So I think we don't want to be in that space. So be a better negotiator. Moving ahead with the next that I have on my mind is decision making. The way you speak can influence a lot of decisions. It could be a personal situation in your life with your friends, or a little kid when he actually convinces the mother or the father to give him or her a chocolate. I think it is about influencing the final authority's decision that I deserve that, please give me that. So when it comes to your business, be it politics, we've all seen how the country works, right? The superpower, the way it is managed. Be it academia, be it dating or anything. I think when you convey the right message at the right time, it can sway the decisions. Before some time, didn't we all discuss about the entire reality show where one person grabbed 1.5 crore seed funding while the other were lost struggling for the fund? So it's about influencing the decision makers. Moving ahead, leadership is directly proportional to confidence perception. Good speakers are perceived to be more competent and very confident both ways. So likelihood of you being the chosen one increases if you carry a persona of a very confident person who has the leadership skills to guide others in a better way. So I'll give you an example of 2015. Google, the tech giant, they were supposed to choose their next CEO in 2015. They had 3 candidates who were equally amazing with their tech skills, but they selected Sundar Pichai. Why so? I think it is the competence and the confidence that he showed to the board of directors that made them decide that he should be the future of this magnanimous tech giant that affects every single individual under the sun. And that is how we have Sundar Pichai leading the world's biggest company, one of the biggest companies that we have on earth. I think there is not a single day we might have not Googled things, hai na? One very important idea about speaking well is executing the right way. Success is inversely proportional to misunderstandings. The ability to give clear-cut instructions in a very concise, confident, and with a lot of clarity of mind is what makes you succeed with the final outcome flawlessly. If I have to give you an example, imagine a surgeon who's doing a surgery. There are multiple people involved in that OT room. He's giving many instructions for the people to follow. Now those instructions have to be very meticulous, very concise, and they need to be executed on time. Otherwise, the person on that table, his life is on stake. The entire family's life is on stake. So I think this entire idea of executing it timely is what matters the most, and otherwise you cost a life. So who better than you people to understand the importance of timely execution? There are many brilliant ideas or scientific inventions that go down the drain. Why? Just because someone somewhere couldn't convey or speak better with the candle that I just shared, CANDLE. And that's where that entire idea went to drain. Brilliant business ideas to astonishing inventions. Just to stop it going to drain, we need to ensure that we speak well. Take an example of Vikram Sarabhai. If he couldn't convince the ministry to invest well in the space of science and astronomy, we wouldn't have been where we are. So it is his convincing power that where we are standing today when it comes to those accolades that we celebrate by ISRO. Moving ahead, the next example of Mark Zuckerberg. If Mark Zuckerberg couldn't convince the investors, the initial investors who actually funded Facebook, I think we might not have the social media, or maybe a little different one than what we have right now. Moving from those examples to a different example, which has created a crazy difference in millions of people's lives. So I think speaking and creating opportunities for others also is equally important. Let me move ahead with another example. If Amir Khan, he couldn't negotiate with the producers, today Indian film industry or Bollywood film industry wouldn't have been on the maps of Oscar. Lagan is the film where he had a hard time convincing people to actually invest in a period film based on cricket. The best example to prove that if Captain Cool Dhoni wasn't a very cool captain, and the way he spoke and the way he felt confidence and the way he perceived his leadership, we would not have got those 2 World Cups to Mother India. Now, you might be thinking that, all right, so it's easy. If I speak, I succeed. But let's not forget that silence is equally important. You must know when to stop. But that is for another TEDx talk that I'll share why silence is also an important part. I very strongly believe that the way we have invested our emotions, money, and sincerity in getting fitter as a society, as humankind, we also need to invest equally in presenting ourselves better and talking confidently, having a good vision for ourselves. I would like to end my speech with a few lines which I assume that you will remember forever and might make a little 5% difference in your life. Even then, this talk will be worth it. Speak because out of those millions of species under the sun, we are the one who are the chosen ones. Speak, because if you don't speak, there'll be someone else who will grab that opportunity and grab that chance. Speak. Speak, because the idea in your head that you think is just a random thought might change the course of mankind. Speak, because your next opportunity is standing right in front of you at that door with open arms. Speak, because speaking may change what you may achieve. Thank you.